All right, what's going on, boys? It's Keg from Run Pure Bets. Back with another UFC Fight Night main card breakdown like we do every week. This week, the card isn't much better than last week or much better than the week before that. It's been really, really bad, man. It's been a bad product lately, in my opinion. Obviously, they're sandwiched between pay-per-views, and I understand that. But we're talking about the biggest MMA promotion in the world. And there are people fighting tonight that are 14-9 combined. What are we doing? But anyway, we're here. We're going to try to make money. Main card, Krzysztof Jotko, Gerald Meerschaert. So price opened about minus 125, I think, on Gerald Meerschaert. Let me get the sports books up here. And Krzysztof Jotko has taken a ton of money, and in my opinion, deservedly so. Yeah, so Jocko's minus 180 right now on DraftKings. I didn't jump on the money line price early because I wanted to see the method of victory props. That was my goal. And I kind of think that Krzysztof Jotko is the side here. The big knockout tends to be, well, the guy doesn't throw a ton of volume. Well, neither does Gerald Meerschaert, right? So, and the main reason why Jotko should probably be the side here is I think his ability to stay on his feet. 70% takedown defense is a really good thing to have in your back pocket when you're fighting Gerald Meerschaert, who you know, is live as a dog always, because even if Gerald Meerschaert loses the first two rounds, he can always get that third round submission. I think Jocko's good enough to stay on his feet and outpoint him. So I think that Jotko by decision is probably the way to go here. That 365 has that decision prop at plus 210. At least that's what it was this morning. And I think if you could find anything close to that, I don't think it's a bad angle. I'm on it. And I think it's the way to go in this fight. Darren Elkins, Tristan, Connolly. So everybody that watches this show now or is a subscriber knows that I have Gavin come on and hang out with me for the UFC every weekend. And him and I were talking about this fight. And he said something that I thought was spot on. He was like, at this point in Darren Elkins' career, after all the punishment, after all the damage that he's taken, how on earth does he deserve to be anything more than a coin flip ever again, no matter who he fights? And I got to tell you, I think I agree with that. I don't know how you can back Darren Elkins at minus 170 at this point in his career. After all the damage that he's taken. Let's just take a quick look and see how many fights that he's been in. He's 37 years old. He's 26-10. And he gets punched in the face a lot. So I couldn't back him at that price ever again from this point forward, right? And to be fair, probably for the last year. So especially against a kid like Tristan Connolly, that I don't really think, aside from that loss to Pat Sabatini, which how can you hate on him for? Pat Sabatini has been an absolute stud since he entered the UFC, right? Aside from that, I mean, the kid really hasn't looked that bad. His takedown defense is okay. He's got a chance to stay on his feet. And he's a strong wrestler in his own right. And we know that he's got a black belt in BJJ, right? So I think the kid is live here at plus 150. And my gut says it's probably going to be a decision win. And at that point, at plus 300, tiny sprinkle on the decision prop, taking him at plus 150 on the money line. That would be the way that I would personally approach this. But, you know, to each their own. Jared Gordon, Grant Dawson. So Grant Dawson left Glory MMA. Why? I'm not sure. James Krause is right now the best coach in mixed martial arts. Glory is the best gym on earth right now. Why he left to go to American Top Team, I'm not sure. But regardless, the kid's had 6. Is it 6? Yeah, I think 6 fights in the UFC. He's won 5. He fought to a draw in 1, which was Ricky Glenn. He won the first and second round. He gassed out and had a really bad adrenaline dump at the end of that second round. And, I mean, really? So, yeah, he gassed out after that second round. And he was so gassed that he got 10-8'd in the third round for a draw. So, you know, cardio could be a little bit of a concern, right? But we know what he is. He is a phenomenal wrestler. He has excellent top control, right? His ground and pound is stellar. He likes to just use his physicality to absolutely smash you into the mat. That's basically what he does. And if he finds an opening, you know, I think that his submission game isn't bad in scrambles. So, and at the end of the day, he's not a very good striker, but I do think that he's better than people give him credit for. The one concern, though, with him is that when he fought at 145 pounds, he was huge, and it was really easy for him to overpower people at featherweight and take it to the ground. Slightly more concerning now he's at 155 pounds. He's going to fight at lightweight. Maybe he doesn't have as big of a strength advantage that we're used to seeing from him. But overall, I like what I see out of Grant Dawson. Jared Gordon, he got the split decision win over Joe Selecki in his last fight. He's a guy that's another guy. He is a solid wrestler that's usually looking to get to the fight, to the ground with his normal super heavy grappling game, right? Problem is, he will not be the wrestler in the cage today. But he does have an advantage on the feet for sure. And his gas tank is absurd. The pace that he sets for 15 minutes is bonkers. And it's really hard to compete with. So if Grant Dawson wins the first and second round here, and that adrenaline dump happens this time, Jared Gordon's going to be live to finish that fight in the third round. So keep that in the back of your head for live betting purposes. If you see Grant Dawson win the first and second round, and he's having a problem getting off the stool when the third round starts, could be the time to maybe throw a little bit of money on Jared Gordon. But in my opinion, I think Grant Dawson wins the fight, right? The line opened minus 190. Last time I checked, it was in that minus 175 range, which is let me. Okay, he's back up to minus 190 now. Okay, so he's back up to the opener. I get why the line's that wide because, you know, Gordon is fighting a better wrestler than he is, and that's Gordon's best skill set. So it makes sense that Grant Dawson would be the favorite here. The problem for me is I don't want to lay $1.90 against Jared Gordon after what I saw in that last fight against Ricky Glenn for Grant Dawson. So I think what I'm going to be looking for is a live betting spot probably on Jared Gordon because I do think that Grant Dawson probably wins the fight, but I am not going to lay $1.90 to bet him. At that point, if he wins the first round live, that number's really super gone. You can't even bet him. If he wins the second round, he's going to be minus 2,000 going into the third probably. And at that point, as if he's tired, could be a potential spot to get on Jared Gordon. Aside from that, because of this price, total pass for me. Andre Fili, Joe Anderson, Brito. I've been a huge Andre Fili guy since he entered the UFC. I always thought that his combination of footwork and striking is elite. it's elite. It's elite level. Now, is he the best striker in the world? No. Does he have the best footwork in the world? No. But that combination of how he moves around that cage and how he throws his hands is elite. And he does everything that you want from a fighter on the feet. He's got crazy footwork. He is solid defensively. He sits behind a ridiculous jab. He throws a ton of volume, and he throws punches and bunches. He throws combinations all the time. So his striking, if we're not over exaggerating, is on a completely different level than Joe Anderson Brito. Now, I think Andre Fili wins this fight, but it is worth noting, listen, man, Joe Anderson Brito, I don't mind him as a fighter, right? He throws haymakers. He's really strong in the clinch, but he's very, very green at this stage of his career. He's still got a lot to learn. So we know that if you've watched him fight, he's going to come out like a bull in a china shop in the first round. He's going to try to pick him up. He's going to try to slam him. He's going to be throwing absolute bolos all over the cage. That's the style of this kid. That's what he's going to do, right? So I think after Andre Fili gets through that first rush, the first 5 minutes, I think he's going to cruise. I really do. I mean, he's got a 70% takedown defense, Andre Fili, or 68%. And I think it could be hard for Joe Anderson Brito to get him down. And it could be hard to corner him because of his footwork. Now, am I laying 260? No, I'm not. But on DraftKings, there was a bet there that I didn't mind. And I thought it was probably the best angle in the fight. It was Andre Fili to win the fight and over 1.5 rounds at minus 145. My gut says that we're going to get into the second half of the fight. And if we do, I think that Fili is probably on cruise control late second and the third round. So I think him and the over 1.5 rounds at minus 145, probably the best angle I see. If not, it's a pass. But I do think he wins. Andrei Arlovski and Jake Collier. Yeah, this is one I've been going back and forth on all week, man. We know that Andrei Arlovski is a fossil. He's closer to 50 than 35, right? So, but that doesn't mean anything to this guy. He continues to win fights. That's just what he does. Why? Because he picks on the low level of the heavyweight division. People like so let me pull up his shirt off to see. I don't want to start rattling off names that he hasn't even fought. Okay, yeah. So when you think of Jake Collier, right? This is the level of fighter that you think of. Jared Vanderaa, Arlovski beat him. Carlos Felipe, Arlovski beat him. Chase Sherman, Arlovski beat him, right? He did lose to Tom Aspinall, but Tom Aspinall is a stud, and Arlovski looked better than the last few opponents have against Tom Aspinall. Win over Tanner Boser, win over Philip Lynch, win over Ben Rothwell, but he loses to Rosenstruck, right? What do all these people have in common? They're shit. They suck. They're not very good at fighting. It's the low level of the heavyweight division. Now, Jake Collier is in that group, right? My one issue and what has kept me off Arlovski is Jake Collier, if this does go 3 rounds, which I personally expect it to probably go 3 rounds. If it does, Jake Collier throws way more volume than Andrei Arlovski. And that could get you into trouble. We've seen the state of MMA refereeing and MMA judging the last 18 months has been a complete and total shit show clusterfuck, right? So if Jake Collier's got more significant strikes landed at the end of that fight, it could be the difference between you winning or losing that Arlovsky bet. And that's what's currently kept me off Arlovsky. But I do think that he wins this fight. All right. Now the main event, Rob Font and Marlon Vera. Man, this is the toughest main event, in my opinion, that we've had to call in 3 months. And it didn't get any easier when Rob Font decided to miss weight as the top-ranked fighter in a main event by 2.5 pounds. That is a really, really bad look for Rob Font. And that tells me clearly something's not right. Like, you don't miss by 2.5 pounds in a main event as the top-ranked fighter in that fight. It just doesn't happen. So something seems off to me. And I was already wishy-washy on this fight, right? Because I thought that this fight would start to become interesting at the start of the second round, right? Why do I say that? Because Chito Vera basically loses every single first round that he's in, okay? So I figured once we start the second round, it's going to become interesting, and you're probably going to start to get higher plus money on Chito Vera, right? And at that point, he's going to either have to win 3 of the 4 last rounds, 3 of the last 4 rounds, or he's going to have to finish the fight inside the distance. Can he do both? Yeah, he could do both, right? So what I was going to do was probably, well, let me finish breaking it down anyway. Yeah, I mean, Chito Vera is huge for the division, and he pushes a crazy pace with constant pressure in your face. His front foot is basically always in the pocket, right? And historically, we've seen that Rob Font, one thing that he does not handle very well is pressure. So I think once Chito Vera gets his timing and starts to feel comfortable, that's going to become an issue for Rob Font. Rob Font doesn't really knock anybody out, really. So, I mean, we know he's not going to knock Chito out. Chito's never even been knocked out before, right? So my plan was take Rob Font pre-fight, minus 125, right? Hopefully he's up 1 or 2 rounds, and then throw a half unit on Chito at like plus 500, plus 600. Either way, you're making money, okay? But now that Rob Font missed weight, that's all out the window, folks. I don't know how he's going to look in the first round. Even if Chito doesn't look great, if Rob Font is not healthy, it still might be enough in the first round. So I decided to pull the trigger on Chito Vera pre-flop at plus 125. And, just hope that Rob Font missing weight by 2.5 pounds is an issue for a reason. So I pulled the trigger on Chito. And that basically means that you're not really going to be on Rob Font at all, because if Rob Font wins the first round, he's a minus 250 favorite. If he wins the second round, he's a minus 400, 500 favorite, and on and on and on, right? So you're basically making a decision here by taking Chito Vera, because you're not. Why would you take Rob Font? If Rob Font is plus 600 in this fight, why would you bet him? Because Chito's beating the piss out of him at that point. That's what's making him plus 600. So I guess I'm planting my flag here and saying that I am not going to be getting on Rob Font at all in this fight. But you know what? I'm comfortable with it because I thought that Chito Vera was live before this, going into the fight. Now with this, kind of puts it over the top for me. So I took Cheeto plus 125 on the money line. I guess we'll roll that out for the play on the video. And that's it. Use the promo code RUNPURE. No, that's 25 off to get 25% off the first week or month. I encourage everybody to check it out. I think we have the best product right now in the space between all the guys that are here, all the sports that they crush in individually, a ton of content. And for $45 for your first month, it seems like a no-brainer to me. I'll be on the at 1:30. I'm going live for KegCast subscribers. We'll be live for 10 hours today because that's how I do. And yeah, so if you have the time to live bet, I would encourage you to check out that for $10 a week. It's worth it. We're up 90 units or 100 units in NASCAR the last 6 Sundays. So that's cool. But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think at noon on the DFS side for the NASCAR video. Immediately following that, I'll be live on the bet side, and Coop and I will do the NASCAR video, and then we'll be live for KegCast subscribers for the race tomorrow. Aside from that, I hope your action runs pure today, boys. I hope you crush it. And yeah, I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm out.